Oh no! Welcome back to the stream, guys. Let's do this. Hi, John Pop. Welcome to the stream. Decrepit Doors, 99, Super Jerry, Thanator, Dordeer, people. Hi. Right. So, earlier on we got the spawners working, which is great. And now I kind of oh, somebody sent me something on Twitter. Hang on, let me find it. Some spawners they made in Carceron. Sent me a paste bin with things in it. So let's take a look at some of the spawners he's come up with. Sorry, coughing. We've got a lingering potion spawner. I was actually thinking that Duck Junior's this dungeon up here with all the pods on the floor would be quite cool to have a lingering potion down here, so the floor is like poisonous. Might be kind of interesting. Where did the exit go? There it is. Right. Let's take a look at E. You know what? I really dislike the attack indicator. It's very distracting. So this is a lingering potion spawner that spawns lingering potions. Interesting. It's spawning them not as area effect cloud entities, but as lingering potions. Interesting. I'm assuming they all give the same effect. This would be an interesting touch, something like that at the floor of a. I think the blindness is fighting my my night vision. Yeah, something like that at the bottom of one of these dungeons might be kind of cool. And we've got one other spawner, I believe, in there, which was pause for effect and coughing. This is an arrow spawner that apparently, it's very weird that they don't make a noise as they fly out, but apparently we can set different motions. I'm assuming that there's like spawn potentials that we can set so it can do different things. Looks kind of laggy though, unless we can get it to fire them out slower or something, because that's a lot of arrows. Yummy. I'm actually picking this up. No. Okay. I thought I broke that. Didn't I break that? It's weird. I thought I broke it. Apparently I pressed it again. Okay. Decrepidor says, will the custom terrain work with amplified terrain? It is not designed for amplified terrain. The biome detection will probably not work because it's looking in a specific area for certain block types, and in amplified, the surface is not always quite so easy to guess the location of. So it will work intermittently with amplified, but it's not really designed for it. Oh right, yeah. One of the arrows hit the stone button. That's what happened. Sorry, the wooden button. That's kind of funny actually. What are other people saying? Yeah, you can change max spawn delay and min spawn delay. And apparently somebody has used the pause for effect and coughing joke before in some show called North by Northwest, which I've never heard of. Honest. Okay, and we've got one more spawner, I believe, which is another lingering potion. Again. Actually, it's very similar to the first one. It just has slightly different amplifiers, so I'm not going to bother looking at it at this point. But it's interesting. We've got a couple of things we can do with that. Can you make fire spawners? I wonder. Oh, there is a max nearby entities. Max spawn delay, min spawn delay. Require player range 10. So we should be able to put falling sand here. Block fire. Time 0. Wonder if that'll just work, just like that. Well, kind of. I think I needed a time of 1. Still not letting it place the fire. That's kind of interesting. But oh, you know what? I bet it's got a. No, I did get rid of the motion, didn't I? I did. Block fire time 1. Spawn count 1. Spawn range 5. Require player range 10. Delay. Let's change the delay to like 10. Just see what happens. I know what happened. I didn't refresh the spawner after I changed the command. Is that fire sitting on the edge of the block? Is that not a block? It's still an entity. What is this? I'm taking a screenshot of that. What the hell? Well. Would you look at that? Uh-oh. Okay, well that was very odd. Never seen that before. Yeah, okay, Panda's apparently already seen that thing with falling sand. 1.9 bug. They can now lay on edges. They do lay on edges. Look at them go. It's a bit of very odd behaviour, gotta say. What happens if they land on like a fence gate? I'm getting sidetracked. I'm going to stop now. So that might be an interesting kind of spawner to have as well. I'm thinking, oh, bzz, bzz. I'm thinking that caves might be quite fun to occasionally trap with things like that. To have random arrow fire and potion spawners in caves. Okay, well, I haven't actually converted any of the towers over yet for Gamemode 4. I'm probably not going to convert them in a stream because we've done some of the dungeon conversion in stream, and I don't really want to repeat that. So I'll have to do those at some point. What we can do, though, is either the chest populate... Oh dear, the fire is spreading. Either chest population, which is this big chunk of command blocks here, which is going to involve a bit of rebalancing, possibly, or we can implement the new system which chooses what height to spawn dungeons at, which uses buttons. Give me a second. Interval. That's what this one's for. There we go. Don't want to reveal anything I'm not supposed to. Just checking. Apparently they can also land on top of cobblestone walls without becoming a block. Interesting. I don't appear to be able to connect to this server for some reason. Okay. This is the server that Spider put the button system on. But I don't seem to be able to log into it. I'm just going to quickly open up my multi-craft control panel and see if I can find what's going on with that. 1 second. I guess while that's doesn't okay, right. We may be having some server issues. Oh, Spider has sent me the schematic for it. Oh yeah, he did, didn't he? Okay, I'll go look at the schematic. 1 second. Scrolling up. Spider sends me lots of things. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Spider. There it is. Cave and surface finder schematic. Right, just downloading that. Opening MC Edit. I guess I can change that back. I probably shouldn't log in actually while I'm MC editing. So I'm gonna import this somewhere. I guess up above the command blocks for now. There we go. Saving, closing, and opening. All right, here we go. Oops. There we go. So, let's take a look at how this works. It is, first of all, I talked in the previous stream about how this works. So it chooses a column that it wants to find the highest or lowest air block in, and it fill replaces every air block in that column with a stone button. If the stone button is in the air, then it will pop off. But if it's on a solid block, it will set itself as a block like this. So there are a few things on the surface which would stop a button being placed that a button couldn't be placed on top of. So there's things like leaves and grass and flowers and things like that. Interestingly, this allows us to actually spawn structures under trees. So if we were looking for the highest point in this column, it would be here, not on top of the trees, because it wouldn't be able to place on the trees, so it would make this the highest point. So it's kind of neat, because we can spawn things on the surface in forests without it landing on the tree. Yeah. So, let's see how it works. So first of all, this is the one, let's do the one that does the surface first, actually. So first of all, it's getting rid of vines. These are all things that spawn naturally, which a button cannot be placed on. Feel free to let me know if you see any that are missing. So vines, yellow flowers, brown mushrooms, red flowers, dead bushes, cacti, snow layers, double plants, tall grass, and that's it. Those are the only things we can think of which naturally spawn that buttons can't be placed on. Water doesn't matter, lava doesn't matter, ice, we don't want structures spawning on ice, although it will be able to spawn on packed ice because you can place buttons on that apparently. And after that it goes on. So we are filling everything between Y60 and 255 with stone buttons. So Y60 is the lowest point that we look for when searching for a surface point. So anything below Y60 is considered underground and therefore not something we want. So this will actually stop surface structures from spawning in ravines that are open to the sky and things like that, because it doesn't really make sense to have things in ravines. So I think that keeping structures above Y60 is fairly sensible, considering 64 is ocean. So that's that. In this moment, it's going to put stone buttons everywhere that there is air, and between that time and the time that this command block takes to execute, any stone buttons that are not attached to a block will pop off. Hello Energix, so welcome to the stream. So what we do next is we tag all items with the mark item tag if they are a stone button. I don't know if we need to put an age tag in here to stop a stone button thrown on the ground by a player from being tagged here. We may need to specify the age of 0. Next, we execute on all tagged items to look for a stone button 1 block below them. And if they find it, they summon an armor stand 1 block below them called mark surface temp. Like that. Currently custom name is visible. We're going to... I think it's fine to keep mark sur temp. I do think we may need to specify the age of the buttons to stop it targeting. Hang on. To stop it targeting anything. I'll add that in a second when I know that I haven't broken anything when I go through all of this. So we've done that, which leaves us with any caves, any spaces between Y60 and Y256 that have a block followed by an air block above that block will now have an armor stand called Sir Temp. And then we execute on the mark bot, which is actually what we're going to change to our chunk checker armor stand, to kill all items with the mark item tag, 255 blocks and above. So it kills all those flying buttons that have just popped off the ground. Then we execute. So I guess that's going to stop the issue of buttons being tagged when they're not supposed to be, because they won't be targeted by the kill command. Right. We entity data the furthest mark sur temp entity from itself with the custom name mark sur instead of mark sur temp. Which will be fine as long as we don't have 2 columns being processed at once, I think. If we had 2 columns, they both execute and find the furthest from themselves, and that might make... I think that would make them target each other, wouldn't it? We've got 2 columns. You could have... one might get left out. I'm not sure. See what Spider thinks. Entity data at E, C equals -1, name equals mark sur temp, custom name marks okay. And then we kill any temp armor stands, and we replace any stone buttons with air that were placed in that column to get rid of any stone buttons that were placed in caves and things like that. So pretty simple. It's pretty much the same thing for caves, except that we don't have to check for quite so many things. So underground, the things we considered that can be naturally generated, which buttons can't be placed on, is rail, web, and that's it. We couldn't think of anything else in a cave that could cause an issue. Technically, there are chests in dungeons, but we don't want to spawn a structure inside an existing dungeon. There are half slabs in strongholds, but we don't want to spawn structures in strongholds. and there are yeah, I think we're going to be okay. I don't think you can place buttons on spawners either, but it's the same sort of thing. So I think it's going to be okay. Spider says he meant to add a dx, dy, dz to the entity data. That does make sense. Grass and mushrooms can spawn underground. That is a good point. Maybe I'll add those. Execute dynamic mark bar. Right, so this one, this is where we want to add that. I think. Yeah, should be okay. Right. So that's going to be fun to test. Did I just implement that in here? I think I did. Well, we need it for both anyway. Okay. Energy says why the rails wouldn't that mean there's a mine shaft, and if so, why would you want to spawn a structure inside one? I think I am okay with mine shafts having structures attached to them. There are some rewards in mine shafts, but they're not quite the same as a dungeon or a stronghold. So I'm happy for there to be for them to lead onto a dungeon structure. So we want to use this one here to find the lowest point. So let's take this mess right here and change it out for the new system, which is less command blocks. John Potter's sighing at me. Why is he sighing at me? John Potter, why are you sighing at me? You need to break and replace the spawner. How much of a delay do you have? Like, what? Okay, right. I think John Potter's been making notes and is now critiquing. Yeah, alright. So, what is there? We can keep that. That is testing to decide whether a dungeon should spawn in this spot. And then this is all for keeping. And then from this summons the armor stand. Minecraft. Summon area for cloud. Almost dungeon. Right, I'm going to copy everything up from here. All of this. And then we may move some of it back down. But in general, we can get rid of this horrible system for one that is better and smaller. It's great. Alright, so there's our GM4CS armor stand. So I'm going to keep this bit and have the almost dungeon armor stand track the height, because otherwise we're gonna have to do this execute detect at the start of everything. So I'm just gonna summon a new entity. Summon area effect cloud. Blah, blah, blah. Duration to also the armor stand is in the edge of the chunk, and this armor stand is summoned in the center of the double chunk. So GM4 almost dungeon. Okay. And then from there, I think we just copy this. We do want to add the the mushrooms and grass, I think. What am I walking on? What is that? What is this? I think this is an earlier test version of it. Oh yeah, that was the old looping system, which didn't work. Got it. Okay. Coffee time. Delish. Alright. So, red mushroom, brown mushroom, and it is called tall grass, right? Yes, yes it is. So these dungeons are going to be able to spawn anywhere between Y0 and Y50. I think I'm going to change that to between 10 and 50. And we're changing that to execute off the tag equals GM4A dungeon. False Coffee, thank you for following on Beam. Execute at the tag equals GM4A dungeon. And Nonizer says he's seen flowers spawning underground too. That is true. I really hate that that happens, just for the sense that it makes this a bit harder. Tall grass, red mushrooms, brown mushrooms. There's double flowers as well. You do get double tall flowers underground sometimes. You know what? I'm going to leave it. They're very, very rare. I'm going to leave out the tall grass as well. But we do have rail and web to go. And I'm going to copy this one because it's got the right execute. Rail. Web. Okay. Look how much shorter this is. So just to give some credit, this is designed by Spider Robot Man, and it's based on a concept, i.e. the setting blocks and seeing what pops off by Oh Nowhere. So we're filling between 10 and 50 with stone button. We are tagging them stone button. We are executing off the marked item if it has a stone button under it to summon an armor stand called marks attempt. We can keep that name. Actually, we should GM4 prefix it. Kill any type because item tag mark item dx2 dy255 dz2. Okay. Hi Hero29, welcome to the scream. Welcome to the stream. We've done that one. This is changing to that. Entity data, GM4 MST. So this is executing on the closest entity because we're going for the one that's closest to the ground. DX, DY, DZ. GM4 dungeon. That kills GM4 MST, and that changes to that, and then I guess we have to get rid of the almost dungeon as well. Okay. Haven't maked a backup in a while. I'm gonna make a quick backup before I run this because I'm always very nervous about kill commands. Okay, give me a second. Minecraft saves. Custom train test 1. Send to compress and zip. Alright, backup is safe. Look how much shorter all that is. What's this? It's just a marker. Okay, getting rid of these. There's a few things we need to copy back over from this. So at this point we have an armor stand called GM4 Dungeon at the place where we want the dungeon to spawn. Now we work out whether it's supposed to be a... what kind of dungeon it's supposed to be. So... something I actually want to change is that this armor stand, I believe, was something at Y10. Let's summon it at Y. I don't think it actually matters, come to think of it. Right, kill ID, tag equals to for a dungeon. Okay. At that point, if there is a dungeon, we want to work out what kind of dungeon it's supposed to be. So... I wonder why there's... Oh, this is the whole delay system. That's right. Okay. So... this is still part of this. I think it's here that we go on. That checks for water and sets it to dungeon 2, and then that and that. So that's telling it to spawn dungeon 2, and that's telling it to spawn dungeon 1. So we can copy all of this. This should be GM4 dungeon, right? Are we tagging it? Custom name GM4 dungeon, tags GM4 dungeon. So We're executing at tag gm4 dungeon to clone that space to look for water. If it's... Do we still set this? I don't think we do. I think we need to include that. That's the affected blocks system. Is that over here? Here it is. Yeah, we're going to need this. So we need to set the affected blocks. We need to set it to 0, so we're going to move them to here. Okay. X stats entity at e tag equals gm4 dungeon set affected blocks. I wonder if you set the stat of an entity based on tag and you change its name and you change its tag, I wonder what happens. Thank you, Movie References, for following on stream, and welcome Kikowet to the stream. So we're keeping that, and then we are setting it to 0. Okay. Then we check for water. If we find water, gm4 dungeon score gm4 ds min equals 55. Custom name gm4 dungeon 2 tags gm4 dungeon 2. Okay. Then gm4 dungeon, we execute on gm4 spawn dungeon 1 to block data, and then this one is spawn dungeon 2. Okay, we have to add dungeon 3 to this as well still. Okay, so I think dungeon 1 is now broken because it references the tag gm4 dungeon. So I'm going to replace enough of these with the correct case so that we can tell that it is trying to spawn them. Then I guess I have to change the rest myself off camera, because that's not going to be particularly fun to watch. And these should have the correct tag capitalization. They do. Okay. I guess we should add dungeon 3 as well. Spider says this can't place in water, and he's right. What we need to do is make sure that these checks are done in the right order. Now, we can't, within one tick, we can't specify whether the terrain change is done before, like whether this terrain detection line or this structured detection line goes first within the course of one tick. But what we can do is make the terrain detection have a longer delay. So this takes 1, 2 ticks, and this currently also takes 2 ticks. But if we just add an extra delay to these, then that should be good. Currently we are actually setting the affected blocks stat on each of these lines. It seems to me we can set that elsewhere when we actually generate it, which I believe is on the clock line. Yeah, I think we should be able to set the affected blocks there. Sets the chunk AF score to 0. Sets chunk AF to be the affected block. Check. Okay. Spider says, does the cave finder need 2 ticks now? Well, 1, 2. Because the first one checks the chunk to see whether it's supposed to have a structure in it, and then there's a delay, and then all of this only runs if it's trying to generate a structure. So we could cut it down to a single tick check, but we would always be running all of those commands. So I don't know if we want to do that. We could just add a physical delay in here. Like this. Right. So this should cause all terrain changes, i.e. filling the ocean. The main issue we had here was that the height finder needs air, and if we're filling the caves with water, it wouldn't work. So this should mean that we will get a 1 tick, 2 tick, 3 ticks for this, and for this one we'll get 1 tick, 2 ticks. So this should solve the placing order we were having and make sure that structures are at least partly generated, depending on how long the generation takes. In this case, 1 tick is fine, before these terrain changes are made. Yeah, okay. Let's add Dungeon 3 as well. So our detection system for desert is this one here. Rid of that. So exiting on the dungeon to check for sandstone. And if it has a score of... See, we're checking the... Oh, right, yeah, that's fine. Okay, I was thinking of the chunk AF tag, which is for something else. Okay. So that's sandstone, and our score check for it is 1. As long as it finds at least 1 piece of sandstone, it's considered a desert. Okay. So we'll copy this. And we will change this to 1. Custom GM4 Dungeon 2, tags GM4 Dungeon 2, and then we finally need to trigger that to actually generate the dungeon. I don't know why that's there. Is it an armor stand? Hi, Incarceron. Yes, I did see your spawners. We looked at them earlier in the stream. trying to remember if it's an armor stand or not now. It's an area effect cloud. Although no, the final thing is an armor stand, isn't it? Because it was summoning them as armor stands. So I think we're good. All right. Well, let's do a cull and run the clock, I guess, and see whether we get some desert and ocean dungeons, and whether we get regular dungeons, or whether we've broken everything. Just prune those. And we're back. Sandstone, won't beaches cause an issue, asks Larite. Yes, beaches do cause issues. They would cause issues whether we checked for one sandstone or like 20 or whatever, because they're beaches. They just have the same surface composition as deserts, and they do return false positives on deserts sometimes. Alright, start the clock. Let's see if we get some dungeons. The regular dungeons are going to appear to be like half completed because I only changed a few of the... I see an armor stand over there. I see a dungeon. So they're spawning at least. That's good. Wow, that looks so weird. So incomplete. It also doesn't kill the GM4 dungeon armor stand, so hopefully we don't... No, it's probably going to be causing a bit of lag, but we're just testing it right now. We should find... Well, we're not going to find any desert or ocean temples around here because it's not desert or ocean. Let's go to amidst and find... What is that? Oh, that's my camera. I was using that to photograph these in stages. I just teleport to it to make sure that each screenshot was from the same position. Okay, let me go to amidst and find a desert in this seed. Oh yeah, I didn't actually check whether the dungeon spawned at the right height there. Custom train test 1 point. This level.dat. Okay, so we have a desert. It's quite a big one. At 3,200 minus 600. We may have to... Oh no, it is scanning the chunks. Okay, so fingers crossed we find a desert temple. Somewhere. Not seeing one yet. I'm actually gonna teleport back a second, and we're going to put a little command block on the desert temple thing to say that it's run, so we know if it exists or not. Dungeon 3. Has it run at all yet? 11:52. No, it hasn't run yet. Really hoping we find a dungeon. A desert dungeon. No Nancy says, why are some chunks not considered as desert? Because we've got a regular dungeon here in the desert. That's not promising. Because the space that it's looking for sandstone must have not had sandstone in it. Which can be caused by large hills like this, or by other things. Okay, well, I think that should have made a... Interestingly, there is a cave down here, which it didn't try and spawn in. I'm guessing the cave was below Y10. Yeah, it was it's on the cusp. Maybe I'll lower the allowed spawning height then a little bit. I haven't seen any messages about spawning Dungeon 3. So I guess now we have to work out why. We found one dungeon that should have been a Dungeon 3, in my opinion. Is that Prismarine? Okay. Right, we have an ocean dungeon here under the desert. Okay. Why would it do that? It's very strange. Everything but... Oh, there's more over here. Oh, this is an ocean. Okay. Well, the ocean dungeons are spawning roughly in the right places. Oh, that's just on the edge, isn't it? This one isn't, though. I don't know why this... I don't know why that one spawned there. There's a little bit of water here. Maybe it caught that? Don't know. We've got our flooded... Oh, that's weird. You have like a flooded ravine here. It's kind of cool. But no desert dungeons that I can see. Right, well, I guess the next step then is finding out why not. Let's turn this off. Okay, so... Dungeon 2 is the water one. 1709. That one's run recently. That one failed because the last one obviously wasn't one. That one... Okay, so we've never had a what's considered to be Dungeon 3. Run. Oh. Oh! This is checking for sandstone. And then we change its name to Dungeon 2. We want that to be Dungeon 3. That explains the water dungeon in the desert, I guess. Okay. Let's go back over there, if we can find that dungeon again, and make a note of the coordinates and rerun the system, because we know there should be one spawning there, and we can check whether we can get a actual dungeon one to spawn there next time. I don't remember where it was though. See, that might have just been because it spawned under this hill. I don't mind standard dungeons appearing in deserts, but I don't want ocean dungeons appearing in deserts. It's just silly. This is it. There it is. Okay, so coordinates are that. Okay, gonna prune the world. Which takes a little while. Oh, hi Tukase, welcome to the stream. Haven't seen you in a while. Right, let's go back to the redstone. So, TP sparks 0, 100, 0. We're going to go over, turn the clock back on. Scoreboard players reset. This way? This way. Turn the clock back on. Teleport to that place. We may have to re-log because it doesn't like us teleporting. Right, fingers crossed, Desert Temple. There it is! Desert Temple! That's not the one I was looking for, but I'll take it. Look at that beauty. Desert Temple. And you can see that it's spawned against a cave. The bottom point is generated right here. And again, I'm guessing this is below Y10, which is why it didn't spawn a bit lower. I love the fact that we can spawn them at various heights now, instead of just 5 different heights. I think that's kind of neat. Look at that. Fantastic. Okay. I wonder if there are any others, whether they weren't spawning before. Because of that reason. Because we had the wrong setting, or whether it's just bad luck in this desert that there aren't many. Because the dungeons are fairly frequent. You do tend to get quite a lot of them. Desert ones are quite hard to spot, actually. Oh, we just got another one spawn. And it seems to have announced it to be a desert one, so if we look around we might see another one. Somewhere near here. The clay is like the easiest way to spot them because otherwise they pretty much blend in perfectly.